What is up, guys? It's Jono, and in this video what I want to do is share with you how you can really quickly build a fully automatic sales dashboard for two purposes. Number one, maybe you have a team of sales reps, or maybe it might just be yourself, right? And you want to track your data automatically. Things like conversion rates, things like new lead rates, average deal size, all of that kind of stuff. And the second group of people this is going to benefit is people that want to get into automation and they want to sell dashboards. And the beautiful thing is these take really not that much time to build, but you can sell it for a disproportionate amount of money. So you could sell it for $5,000, $10,000. They can really go up there, right? But you could start out as well at $1,000 or $2,000. Okay, so we're gonna do this using a few different software platforms. The first one is gonna be GoHighLevel for the CRM. The second one is going to be Looker Studio, and that's where we're going to have the dashboard contained in. We're going to feed information into Looker Studio from Google Sheets, and then we're going to connect it all together using make.com. All right, so let's get straight into it. Okay, so in front of me, you can see the dashboard that I have. It's segmented by the sales rep. So we got Alex, Jono, Bob, and other. Now, we're just essentially trying to analyze the data from each member of the team. So we can take a look at how many leads did somebody claim? How many quotes did they send out? When I refer to quotes, I mean like they actually did a sales call. So this is synonymous in my business as sales call. And then how many contracts are signed and how many deposits are paid and how much revenue did they make? What was the lead conversion rate, right? So out of the leads that they claimed, how many actually paid the deposit? What's the sales conversion rate? Out of the sales calls they had, how many deals did they actually close? And then you can see the average deal size. You can map all of this out to make beautiful graphs. This really is super quick as well. The beautiful thing is that you can also map this out over certain amounts of time. So maybe you want a particular month, maybe you want to do, a week. You can do that here, and you can also filter by certain things. So for example, maybe you want to filter, right, by the lead source. Maybe it's an SEO lead, maybe it's a Google Ads lead. Well, you can do that right here. Okay, so this is what we're going to be building. Now let's go ahead and start building it. So this is kind of what it looks like at a high level, right? If you're to map out what's actually going on here, there's 4 entry points, and then we're feeding that into Google Sheets, and that information is being spit out into Looker Studio. Now, your business is probably going to be slightly different than mine, but the underlying variables here are pretty consistent, right? So you're going to have, likely, if you're a service industry, a new lead, and then you're going to have to jump on a sales call with that person, right? And somewhere along the line, they're probably going to sign a contract and pay a deposit. And for some of you guys, you might have additional appointments between the sales call and the contract signed. We also do as well. We just don't include it in here. So this is kind of what it looks like. And you need to have an automation set up so that at every single interval, new lead, sales call, contract signed, deposit paid, it automatically sends data into Google Sheets, which then is fed into Looker Studio. So this is what the Google Sheets looks like. It's essentially just a massive data dump, right? It's just sending in all the information. And the main point here is column C, where it says the event. So it's either deposit paid, new lead, contract signed, or sales call, right? And then that gets pushed out into Data Studio, or Looker Studio, formerly known as Data Studio, where you can see the information here. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's build this out. Now, I use GoHighLevel, right? And you can really use whatever, CRM you want to use. I just personally like GoHighLevel because it's just so easy to automate things, right? And it's easy to get up, it integrates and plays nicely with other software programs. It's great. So let's go ahead. You're going to need 4 different triggers, right? You're going to need one for new lead, one for sales call, one for contract signed, and one for deposit paid. So the first one is the new lead. It's subjective, right? It's probably going to be different slightly for every single person out there, depending on how they automate their system. But just a really simple way of doing the new lead is the contact created trigger, right? So triggers start the workflow. Now, that's the new lead, right? So when a contact is created in your CRM, you're going to fire this off. Okay, and then you can do the sales call. Now, this is also typically done through a form submission. So you can do like a form submission. In my case, it's just going to be sales call. Form is sales call. Okay, awesome. So we have a sales call plugged into this. You're gonna need to go ahead and create a form, right? So if you haven't done so already, you're gonna need to do that. So in GoHighLevel, well, this might take a bit of time to load here, so I'm just going to go back and we're going to circle back to this. Contract signed, you're going to need a trigger for contract signed. So this is a bit more complicated if you're using an external software. If you're using GoHighLevel payments, you can just go ahead and have something here where it's like payment received, right? Okay, payment received for the deposit paid. So this is deposit paid. I'm gonna mark this as deposit paid. Contact. Oh, that was actually correct. And then this is gonna be sales call. Okay, sales call, we're gonna circle back here now. You can go and GoHighLevel to create a form. You can really do this anywhere you want to, right? Just for simplicity's sake, I'm gonna use GoHighLevel because it's already all kind of built in under the hood, but you can go to form builders here, add a new form, start from scratch, and this will be your sales call, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and call this test sales call, and you can add in all the fields. Just for simplicity's sake, what I'm gonna actually do is I'm just gonna show you my sales call so you guys can kind of see what it looks like here. So here we go. This is what we currently use for our system. You just enter in the first name, last name, email, phone number. We do the type of event. We're a DJ photography and videography business, so we kind of add in all these things, and you're just gonna ask all the right questions that you probably want to know, such as start time, end time, all of that kind of stuff. And it's just going to essentially, when this is submitted, it's going to essentially, fire this automation. So when the form is submitted down here, it fires this automation. So that's the sales call workflow, right? So we got the contact created, sales call, deposit paid, and then you can also do a contract signed. Let's just see where it is here. Maybe it's like a proposal or estimate. I use PandaDoc, and I just use make.com to essentially feed information back in. So I'm just going to skip over the contract created just so you can see the demo purposes here. And then we're going to save this so far, and we're going to have an if statement here. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to have contact created, and actually, let me change this. The branch is going to be contact created, and we're going to do source here, right? So essentially, we want to have if or else statements. We want to have a path to say, if it's the contact created, go down this path. If it's the sales call, go down this path. If it's the deposit paid, go down this path. And how we can do that is by doing workflow trigger here, and it may ask me to refresh. Okay, perfect. It's working. Okay, so contact created, add another branch. It's going to be sales call. Workflow trigger is going to be sales call, and then next one is going to be deposit paid. Okay, sweet. So workflow trigger is deposit paid. Okay, perfect. So now we have it all separated out, right? And we're going to have to do a webhook here. Okay, so what is a webhook? A webhook is essentially sending data from one platform to another. So in this case, we're sending data from GoHighLevel into make.com, and then into a workflow like this where it receives the webhook and then it sends it to Google Sheets. When it sends it to Google Sheets, then it's automatically that data scraped and displays in Data Studio. Okay, so what we're gonna wanna do here is have the URL from make.com. Now we're going to go ahead, we're going to create a new scenario, and what this scenario is going to look like is we're just going to title this test sales dashboard. We're going to create a webhook here, and just so you guys can see, I just wrote it down here, webhook. Okay, awesome. We're going to go ahead, click that webhook. Oops. We're going to create a custom webhook, and then we're going to add the name here. So it's going to be sales dashboard test. Okay, save that. Here's the link that we can use as the webhook here. So essentially what that means is that when it gets to this stage, it's going to send data to this particular URL, which is this URL. So it's going to cache the information, and we're going to be able to process it here. So we're going to run this module, and essentially you're going to be able to send data from here. Now, the only other thing you're probably going to want to do here is add custom data, and you're going to do event equals contact created. And essentially why we're doing this is because we need a way to differentiate between the different sources, right? New lead, sales call, contract signed, deposit paid, and this is going to be the foundation of the dashboard here. And you can see the event in column C here: deposit paid, new lead, contract signed, new lead, deposit paid, so on and so forth. And we're going to explore this a bit later, but essentially you have all of these webhooks, okay? And we're going to go ahead and copy all of these, and then this is going to be sales call. This is going to be deposit paid, and we're just skipping over the contract signed. For simplicity's sake, I deleted this because this is a duplicate. Okay, perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and pause for 1 second and run this automation. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and test this out. I created, for simplicity's sake, a test here where if we add a tag to a user with the tag being test, then what's going to happen is it's going to go down the contact created workflow here because the tag includes test, okay? And just in case you guys weren't able to see what that looks like before, essentially with these events here, it's like contact created, it's event equals sales call, it's deposit equals paid. Okay, perfect. So that's kind of what it looks like here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this tag on as test. And you're going to see that once we add this tag on as a test, it's going to automatically, well, it's going to have this workflow run, right? So when the tag is added, just pretend this is like the contact created. This gets fired off. Then it reaches this if or else statement. It's like, okay, well, which of these triggers fired? And in this case, let's pretend it's the contact created. So it's going to go down the contact created pipeline workflow or path, and then it's going to push up this webhook here. And with this webhook here, you can see that this has the event contact created in it. Okay, perfect. So that's where we're at so far. And then what that looks like is it fires all of this information off to the to make.com, and you can see in the custom data here we have the event equals contact created. So two things here. Number one, it's essentially sending over the contact profile with all the information about that contact, and then it's also sending over the custom data, which is the event, which we'll see is placed in column C here. So instead of recreating this whole workflow, I'm just going to essentially show you what it looks like because it's just a bit heavy in terms of mapping it all out. So essentially you have the ID field here, right? So you don't necessarily need this ID field, but it is nice to have. And the reason it's nice to have and just to kind of always have that in your Google Sheets when you're going through make.com is because it's a unique identifier. And what that means is that in case you later down your journey with make.com, you want to update a particular row, you can do that by first of all searching for the ID here, and then if it's found, then you can essentially go ahead and update that. If it's not found, then you can just essentially create a new row. The date here, we're essentially formatting the date, which is the date right now, into this format here so that we not only have the year, the month, and the day, but we also have the hour and the minute and the seconds as well. And this is important because maybe you want to, for example, track things like your marketing, right? And you want to track, hey, what days are leads coming into the CRM? What days are the most popular? What times of the days are most popular? Maybe 9 a.m. is the most popular time, and that's good to know to have a schedule for your sales team around the most popular times when you have leads coming into your system. Okay, cool. Now the next thing is you probably want your sales rep. In this case it's user, and then city, language, company name, type of event. You don't need all these things, but these are all nice to have. So this is kind of what I put in there. The source, is it SEO, Google Ads, who claimed the lead, which sales rep was it, what the lead score is of that lead on a 1 to 5 point scale, what script it is. We have multiple sales variant scripts so that we can test what sales script does better or worse. how long the call length was. This is great if you want to determine how much time you should spend on a call on average with a client to maximize your conversion rate on the call, how many calls you have to have until the client on average closes, the deal sizes, all of that kind of stuff, breaking down the services, travel, equipment, parking. These are my costs specific to my industry, which is DJ photo and video services, primarily for weddings. You can see upsells, all of that kind of stuff. Payment method, is it a credit card? How many schedules they want? Is it a deposit remaining balance? Is it just one-time payment? What kind of deal is it? So you're going to send all of that information into the Google Sheet here, right? And this is where everything's going to be stored. And now we can manipulate this data to create this dashboard, which you can find right here. Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and let's create that dashboard right now from scratch. So in Looker Studio, I just created a new dashboard. I'm going to load up Google Sheets. I'm going to pull in the sheet here, which is sales analytics, and the worksheet as well. Add that in. Okay, it's going to load in the data, and we're going to title this report. It's just going to be a test report for now, but I'm just going to do test sales dashboard. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Now, before we actually get going building this, I want to add a control, and that control is going to be a date range control. We're going to put this up top here. Essentially what this does is it filters the data by the date, right? So in this case, I want to filter by the month. So you can see here, this is November 2023. What I'm going to do is I'm going to filter this data by January 1st until January 31st, so we can mimic the same data on the actual live dashboard here. Okay, perfect. So now all the data represented in this table and all the data we're building, excuse me, is going to be from this time period. Okay, awesome. Let's stretch this over here. Okay, that certainly didn't work. All right, going back to the side, let's try this again. Awesome. Okay, awesome, we're there. Now, the two most important things you're probably going to want to know about this is the dimensions and the metrics. So essentially, the difference between this is the dimension is what is the key variable that differentiates the data, right? In my case, what I want is the sales reps. So I want to see the performance of each sales rep. So for this case, the dimension is the sales reps, because it's going to break down the data sales rep by sales rep, Alex, Jono, Bob, and other, right? And you can really have whatever you want, but for most use cases, you probably want to see how is each sales rep doing compared to one another, right? And be able to see, you know, the individual performance of each person. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go choose the sales rep here in column D. It's titled user. So now we have our user, and this is going to be the filtering category essentially. Okay, awesome. Now all we got to do is fill in the rest of it. Now there's going to be custom formulas for all of these fields, but I will post the custom formulas down below. It's not super complicated. I'm just going to copy it over from here and then run through what it actually means. Okay, awesome. So the first one we're going to do is the new leads, right? We're going to count up how many new leads actually occurred in the time between January 1st and January 31st. So we're going to go ahead and add a new field here, and we're going to do new leads, okay? We're going to dump this formula in. Now let me explain what this means. We have an if statement. So an if statement is very similar to this. It's going to go down one path or the next, depending on if the condition is met. In this case, the condition is the event text equal to new lead? So is the event text here equal to new lead? If it's new lead, it's true. If it's sales call or deposit paid or contract signed, it's false, right? So in this instance, if it's equal to new lead, then we're going to count it as 1, or we're going to count it as 0. So what this means is we're going to tally up every single instance of the new lead that somebody had during the month. So for my case, I claimed 106 leads between the periods of January 1st and January 31st. Next, we want to know how many sales calls did we have. So we're going to title it sales call, and we're going to do the same thing, except instead of new lead, it's going to be sales call. and you just got to make sure you spell it properly, or else it's just gonna, it's not gonna work as intended. Next one is going to be contract signed. So add a new field. This is contract signed. Oh my gosh, I can't spell today. Contract signed. Okay, perfect. Once again, we're gonna switch over the event to contract signed. Okay, and the last one here is gonna be deposit paid. So once again, add field, deposit paid. Dump it in there, change it up to deposit paid. So pretty much the same formula for every single one of the 4 major metrics there. The next one is going to be revenue. Once again, it's going to be pretty similar, right? There's only one thing that's changing here. So we're going to go ahead and add the field, and we're going to title this revenue, and essentially still same kind of deal. If contains text, event equals deposit paid, then total value. And by the way, guys, if you want to add in the total value here, all you have to do is literally type in total value and it'll automatically populate it. And in this instance, yep, so we're good to go. All we have to do is click apply, and the revenue is going to be there. Okay, cool. Now we're on to the conversion rates. So in terms of the new lead conversion rate, it's just a bit more complicated, but same kind of deal here. We're going to add a new field, we're just going to call this lead conversion rate, and we're going to dump it in. So there's one major difference, is that instead of it just being if contains, there's going to be a sum, right? And we're going to put the sum on the outside, and then what this is the conditional statement is we're gonna divide the amount of deposits paid by the amount of new leads, right? So if there's 10 deposits paid divided by 100 new leads, then it would be a conversion rate of 10%, right? So contains text, event equals deposit paid, add 1 or 0, divided by the sum of if contains text, event equals new lead, right? And once again, if this is a bit confusing, totally makes sense. I'll post the formula down in the description so you guys can just copy and paste it and just add in the individual fields. We're going to change this to a percentage, right? Because we want to measure it as a percent. And there we go. Okay, awesome. Same kind of deal here with the sales call. So with the sales call, all we're changing is the actual event name here, and then we're going to change it over to percentage there. Okay, awesome. And then finally, all we have to do is the average deal size here, and then we're done the table, and that's it. So add one more field, add a field, and average deal size, and instead of it being the sum down here, it just needs to be the average, and then we're good to go. And we've created this entire table. Voila, there you go. Everything you probably want to know. And if you want to add these particular graphs down here, I'll show you how to do it. It's so simple, same kind of deal. You're just copying and pasting the same equation for here. You're going in, adding a chart. We're going to click bar chart here, paste this down here, and then essentially go in, we're going to add a field, put this in, new lead conversion rate, apply, change this over to the percentage, and voila, there we go. Okay, it's done. So that's essentially it. If you guys are interested in how I do the marketing dashboard down here to automate all of our marketing, you can, drop a comment down below and I'll get around to that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys very much for watching the video today. Hope you guys learned something new. If you want to really quickly build a dashboard in 20-30 minutes so that you can really monitor your team's performance or see your own performance, right? Or maybe you want to sell these dashboards between $1,000 in the low end up to $10,000 in the high end. Now you know how to do so very, very quickly. So if you guys like this video, please click subscribe down below, hit the thumb button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.